Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot United, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for coming back to my CQ call. My name is Mark, that's Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo, and I'm in the southeast of England, about 15 miles southeast of the city of London itself, in the county of Kent. I'll give you a report on the next over, but you were nice and loud to me today on 12 metres. Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot uniform, this is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot.
Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot United. Okay, Mark, you're 5 and 5 over here. I've just been swinging back and forth through the band, listening for Jason's calling, and here you were. And 5 and 5 to Prince Edward Island, Canada, over.
Thanks for the 5 and 5 into Prince Edward Island, right up there at the top right hand corner almost, isn't it, of Canada? Is it Nova Scotia way? Anyway, yeah, you're 5 and 3 to me at the moment. 5 and 3. You were a lot louder when you called in, but I wasn't looking at the meter, so there is some QSB on the band today, but didn't quite catch your name. Apologies for that. I'm not sure if you told me or if I'm just going a bit deaf in my old age, but today we're using the IC-7300. I'm sure you know it's a very common transceiver nowadays. 100 watts output, but the antenna is quite simple. It's a 10-meter band, 5/8 wave vertical. So that's the story this end, and apologies if I missed your name. Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot United. This is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot.
Okay, Mark, my name is Dave, Delta Alpha Victor Echo, and my copy is 100%. There was a lot of QSB on signals today here on this band, but full copy. I'm running an FTDX 1200 here, Yaesu M70 test mic. I'm running approximately almost 300 watts. Let's call it 300 watts. And I got an old Sugar Maker 200 amplifier here at Easton, and I've got a hex beam at 17 meters in the air, and I'm very close to the shore of the saltwater here, over.
Yeah, got all of that. Peaking 5 and 5 that time, Dave. And the FTDX 1200 is a very popular radio as well. One of my late friends, unfortunately he went silent key last year, was running one of those radios, and it was a really nice radio. I've only had this one since last summer, and I've only been using it since Christmas. I'm a big Kenwood man, Dave, and I like my old valve radios and hybrids, etc. So if you check my QRZ page, you see I like old rubbish that no one else wants. But I bought this just see what it was all about, and to be honest with you, Dave, I've actually fallen in love with this radio. It is absolutely superb. I was always against, you know, waterfalls, band scopes, menus and stuff like that, but now I've got used to it. I wondered what all the worry was. It was that good that I actually sold my TS590S, which I absolutely adored. You know, it was a lovely radio with the DSP and everything, but it got me into digital processing, and this is one step above that, you know, with SDR technology. So that's the story. Tell me, Dave, are you anywhere near Sackville, New Brunswick? Would that be sort of the area that you're in? Back to you.
Well, Sackville, New Brunswick would be across the bridge on the mainland, and that's fairly close to Moncton, so it's just a couple of hours away.
Okay, the reason I asked, Dave, is back in the 1970s, when I was a very keen shortwave listener, I used to listen to Radio Canada International on a Sunday when they used to do the English programme to the UK or to Europe, and they used to have the programme there called the DX Digest with Glenn Hauser. And I used to write into that radio station quite often and had my letters read out on the radio shows. And I just remember that their antenna system was Sackville, New Brunswick. And that's the only reason I ask. So a bit of history there with the shortwave listening. What it did do, that they put me in touch with someone as a schoolboy, and I become a pen friend with that person. They're living in Montreal, and to this day we're still pen friends. So what, we're getting on for 50 years later, and we're still pen friends. So it's quite amazing. So that's the story and the reason I asked you, Dave. Back to you. Victor Yankee 2 Foxtrot uniform. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox.
Okay, isn't that something, eh, to have a friend that long from the FWL days? Yeah, I was a big FWList back when I was young. And I know where you're talking about now, the old CBC towers. They used to be along the highway. That's pretty much right at the border between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. I don't think those towers are there anymore. I'm not really sure because we used to have to drive past them all the time going to Nova Scotia, but they built a new highway that is away from that area, so you don't see those towers now. At least that's what I think, because going through there now, you don't see the towers. So I'm thinking that we're on a different highway now than we used to be. Yeah, that's pretty neat to have somebody that's a friend that you've never met for 50 years. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, the island here is, where I'm situated here, right on the saltwater. It's a great spot for an antenna. I've just put this station together in August. I was licensed back in the 80s, but I've been away for a long, long time, and just this August put this station together and was pleasantly surprised that with a mediocre antenna, it works quite well with the saltwater on either side of me here, over.
Yeah, well, it's working very well to me now, the old Peking 5 and 7. But, I've been talking to people in recent weeks who live in Florida. And, I visited Florida many, many times, so I know the area. And they put out absolutely fantastic signals because, of course, Florida surrounded by water on three sides, I suppose is the best way to describe it. And all of the operators tend to be on the coast. And you know what, Dave? We can have some great rag chews out of Florida where the signals will hold up 5 and 9 for half an hour, and you just can go on all day long. But then the other side of the coin is I talk to people out of New York or Maryland, Virginia, places like that, and their signals just don't hold up. I mean, they're a bit further inland, but not a lot further inland, I suppose, as in the scheme of things. But their signals don't hold up. But yeah, I've always had great signals out of Nova Scotia and in that area, Newfoundland, around that area. Always great signals. And I sometimes wonder as well, especially in the summer, if the pathway is across the North Pole or at least the Arctic Circle. Everyone looks on a map and you think to yourself point to point, but of course that's not the way that the signals travel and refract through the ionosphere. They go all over the place. So I'm using obviously an omnidirectional vertical antenna, so it's difficult for me to actually map which way my signals are going. So it's great in that sense. It's great to sort of speculate how we're communicating, whether we're going polar or if we are actually going across the North Atlantic with this conversation. Dave, back to you.
Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot, Victor, Yankee 2, Fox United. Well, I'm pointed northeast. I'm pointed at you. That's where you seem to be best. But, yeah, being on the coast, I carry on half-hour conversations with stations over your side all the time. I spend a lot of time on 17, and there's a few stations there that, when we get together, we just spend a lot of time yakking at each other. So, but, yeah, like just before, 4 contacts back on 18140, there was a huge pileup. There was a station, Sierra 01 Alpha out of the western Sahara, and they have a huge pileup going on. But I think on my third call I was in and he heard me, over.
Yeah, I know some of the. I've worked some of the stations out of Western Sahara. They tend to be club stations, but obviously, you know, for the size of the country and the amount of amateur radio operators they probably got, you know, they're absolutely enthusiastic to, you know, second to none. And yeah, I can always work Western Sahara, but then of course for me, you know, that's only a short single hop, and sometimes well, I wouldn't say sometimes, but I mean occasionally I would imagine sporadic E or E layer propagation as well, because obviously North Africa is very close to us. I did tell you there was a pile up on 10 meters today, Dave. Burundi down in Central Africa, they got a de-expedition going, and I can't remember exactly. I think they was on something like 28,450 and or 440, something like that, and then they were working split 5 up. But when you listened on the split, the amount of European stations trying to get into them, it's a wonder they could actually hear anything, because I was finding trouble, you know, getting those call signs. But I've worked a few of the countries in Central America, Central Africa. I've worked Rwanda, which is right next door to Burundi, etc. And they're always de-expeditions down that way. But it's good fun, you know, and you just tick those little boxes. I'm not an avid DXer per se, so which is why I CQ more than I actually spin the dial and pick people up. But you know, it's great when people come back to me. And just last week I was about to switch off. I called CQ12 and Bermuda come back to me. Now I've heard the station in Bermuda many times, and he's always got a massive pile up, so it's always real fun and a real achievement when I do the CQing and that DX station that everyone wants comes back to me. So quite happy with that. Sorry, I've rambled on quite a lot there, Dave, seeing as there could be QSB and you may have missed some of this. Victor Yankee 2 Foxtrot uniform, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox.
100%, Mark. No problem whatsoever. Still 107, hanging in there great. Got somebody that's moved in quite tight to us here, or propagation's brought his signal up to start dumping on me a little bit, but it's not too bad, not too bad. But, well, I'll tell you, I know what it's like. I get on, that doesn't matter where I get. And if I start calling CQ and they get on to me being on an island, I'll tell you what, I could be there for hours over.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Do you actually have a an IOTA number for that island, or not? Does it just come under Canada? I asked because this morning I was working a Lima Alpha station, you know, Norway, and he was in EU 046, just inside the Arctic Circle. His name's Tor. I've spoken to him a few times, but he was calling CQ this morning on, I'm not sure if, I think it was 10 meters that I worked him on. And yeah, these little islands, they've got these individual IOTA numbers. Now, I don't collect IOTA per se. I don't look for them or anything, but I'm just wondering if your island actually warrants its own separate IOTA number. Back to you.
Yeah, it does, and I'm pretty sure we're the only one that it's North America 029.
Well, I've just put that in my paper logbook, so it's another little box that I can tick. IOTA 029, superb. I can tick that one off. I never have to look for IOTA 029 now, so I really appreciate that, Dave. The other thing that I sometimes get involved in, and I am a member of, on normally on 80 metres and 40 metres, is the Worked All Britain, or WAB. I don't know if you've heard of it. I am a book holder, and you know, Britain is divided up obviously into hundreds and hundreds of little squares, and they have these networks where especially when they've got mobile operators driving around in squares where practically nobody lives, you know, and everyone's busy filling in these little squares on the map of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. But you know, I personally I fill in the book, but I don't actively look look for awards or anything like that. But you know, amateur radio has got so many facets and so many little corners and nooks and crannies. And for me, you know, it's using older gear generally. It's restoring older gear, and it's you know, home brewing. If you once again look at the QRZ page, you can see a few little transmitters and that I've built. But you know, the operating side, you know, that's a bonus. You know, you do all of the technical stuff, and then to actually get to talk to someone, that's the bonus for me. Just wondering what the weather's like there as well, Dave. It's something we all talk about. Today we've had a beautiful day here in the southeast of England. Blue skies, about 12 degrees, which might sound chilly, but for us, absolutely beautiful weather. And I've been just in a t-shirt today, doing some gardening. I've been clearing up after the winter, getting prepared for the spring, so we can start planting out the flowers, the herbs, and the small shrubs that we want to put down one side of the garden. So I'm just wondering, what's the weather like there in northeast Canada? Back to you.
Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot United. It's -2 here right now, and it's sunny out right now, but I don't know if the clouds are going to move in. It says it's supposed to, but right now I'm looking out the window, and it's plenty sun out there. It's absolutely beautiful, really. It's not bad. The wind is down, and yeah, not bad out there at all. I'm waiting for the UPS man here today, not UPS, DHL. I got an antenna coming from your side. I ordered up one of the DX Commanders. It's showing up here today, over.
Yeah, I know the antenna, and I know the person who makes them. I say I don't know him. I know of him would be better. It's a multi-band vertical, isn't it? A wire multi-band vertical, I believe. And is it Callum? Callum is the person who makes them. I know he's got a YouTube channel, and he's a bit chalk and cheese. You know, some people love chalk; they don't like cheese. That's the best way to say it. I was going to say Marmite, but I'm not sure that you actually know what Marmite is. You know, that's an expression in England. You know, it's a Marmite thing. You know, you either love it or you hate it. And yeah, Callum's channel does that to people, I think, sometimes. At least that's what I've seen on social media. As I say, I don't know the person. It's just what I've seen on social media and his YouTube channel. But by all accounts, though, the antenna is a very good antenna and a very good performer. As I say, I've not studied it in depth, and it's maybe that, you know, one day I'll have a look at it. I got the impression, and it was like a fan dipole, but in vertical. But you could correct me on that. I could be totally wrong about that, but that's the idea I got in my head. It was like a fan dipole, but in a vertical configuration. As I say, could be talking rubbish, I don't know. Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot uniform, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot.
Well, you know what? I've seen a whole lot of, you know, there's a lot of information out there about these things. You know, he does a lot of videos, and I kind of thought, okay, you know, do we have to wade through the BS here to get to something? But you know what? No. I want to get a vertical here. Being on the coast, I just want to have it on the antenna switch to be able to compare and use if need be. I run into a circumstance with my X beam up here. I had run into a few problems with it. The manufacturer reimbursed all my money, so I had that money. So I made the decision to put it into a DX Commander. And just out of curiosity, really, and to have it on the switch. I was also thinking about the American-made 05 antenna, but I was talking to the manufacturer, Tom, and being so close to the coast here, he wanted me painting it up with protective paint and all this stuff. So the DX Commander's all composite. You know, the only thing that's metal is those two little aluminum plates at the bottom, and you can coat them up and be good. So, and they're basic. No balance, no boxes, no magic boxes, nothing. So that's why I liked it. So I got the one with 80 meters, the 12.4. So gonna give her a go over here. Over.
Yeah, QSL on that one, Dave. Just for your information, peaking 5 and 9 on that last over, an absolutely stonking signal from up there on the northeast Canada. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I've not overly studied it. You know, it's I'll tell you what, though, Dave, I'm very, very lazy when it comes to antennas. I mean, for 10 and 12, I've got the vertical, which originally was the CB radio 5/8 wave, the 11 meter band one. So I've got one of those, which you know, works on 10 and 12 okay. I've tuned it for 10, so it's a little bit off for 12. And the only other HF antenna that I use then is a long wire antenna. I've got a 27 meters or 90 foot long, or it's about 87 feet long, something like that, of a long wire antenna, and it's a superb Envis antenna. Works very, very well on 40, 60, 80 and even top band. Works reasonably well on 20 and 17, and then when you get up to 15 it's okay, and sometimes I'll switch between that and this vertical that I'm using now. So you know, it's quite random with a 9-to-1 unun. I've always had long wire antennas ever since my shortwave listening days and crystal set building days back in the 1970s. So before I was licensed ham, I've always had, you know, every property that I've either lived in or owned, you know, I've had some sort of long wire antenna up. So when I got my first license in 2017, the antenna was there as a receiving antenna, and at the time I would think I was using an old Trio R600, so Kenwood Trio R600 receiver. So all I did was I had an FT 757GX by Yaesu. That was my first HF transceiver as a licensed ham, and I just connected it up, and that's what I've used. So you know, I keep promising one day that I'll put up some resonant antennas. Hence, you know, I was thinking of either an off-center fed such as a Wyndham, or you know, even fan dipoles. I have got a G5RV, but it was a bit long for my property, and yes, I could bend it around, but I've got a station manager who isn't happy about the 9-element LFA 2-meter beam and my collinear for 2 meters, as well as the vertical and a long wire as well. So she wasn't overly happy about me having, you know, another wire antenna with a ladder line feeder and all the rest of it, you know, because it would have meant me really putting a pole up in sort of in the middle of the garden. Okay, to one side, but it would still be another piece of metalwork. So we'll see what happens in the near future. I retired from work last November, Dave, so I've sort of got time, a bit more time on my hands now for radio projects. And what I might do is just one day is just sneak a dipole or a fan dipole system or something in. But yeah, very lazy antenna man this side. VY2FU M0 JCF.
Okay, Mark, just for the heck of it, what I've done here is I've gone to my end-fed wire that's 25 feet in the air in the backyard. Can you still hear me?
Well, you're between 5 and 5 and 5 and 8, and I'm hearing you very well indeed. And in fact, I could switch. Could I switch to my long wire? I'm not too sure if I've disconnected the feeder. I've got two shacks. I've got one in the loft and I've got one in the garage where all my big old heavyweight radios are. And I've got a feeling it downstairs it's switched to the garage, so I wouldn't be able to switch over. But yeah, you're coming in 5 and 5 to 5 and 5 and 7 to me, no problem.
Yeah, I'll back on the beam now, but yeah, that's just that's a 80-meter half-wave end-fed wire. It's the Viberplex version, and the feed is about air to a tree that's about 30 feet up. So I need to get that all changed over onto my tower and get it twice as high in the air. But yeah, it's all about location more than anything. I think I could throw a wet noodle out here maybe and still talk to you at times. Over.
Yeah, I do. I do. You know, there is that old analogy of wet string, isn't it? And I do remember seeing somebody in the past who got a lot of string. They coated or they soaked it overnight in salt water, and then while it was still wet, they connected it up to a transmitter of some sort, and did manage to transmit on that wet string. Now, not something that I would recommend doing. Having said that, way back in the day when I was using non-licensed radios, I actually, with 10 watts, loaded up my mum's cheese plant. Now, I don't know if you know what they look like. They're a very common indoor plant, a bit like a rubber plant. You know, every old English household has had either a rubber plant or a cheese plant at some time. So what I did is I put the center wire of the coax I pushed it into the cheese plant, into the trunk of it, and I was talking to someone like a few miles away, using that cheese plant as an antenna. Once again, probably not a good idea. I don't know that the cheese plant survived. I don't know that either the cheese plant or the radio would have survived for too long, because there was no ATU or anything like that. The SWR was probably maxed, you know, it was probably at infinity. I don't know. But you know, it was good fun. It was good fun. And but yeah, it's just yeah, say your wire was working there, but as you say, it could be location. But I you know, I love experimenting with bits and pieces. It's just it's the climbing ladders and everything nowadays, I suppose. I'm not that I can't do it, it's just that I'm too lazy, Dave. That's what it is I'm just far too lazy. Back to you, VY2FU M0JCF.
Well, Mark, if you have a look at my signal, you'll get an idea of what you're doing over here now. You're almost 5/9. So, if you have your computer and you can go to my QRZ page, you can see what happened to me when it comes to ropes and being close to salt water. 3 weeks. 3 weeks with this X beam and using this amplifier I got here, which does not do anything over 500 watts, and that would only be on 40 meters. Yeah, I burnt the ropes right out of this X beam. Over.
Excuse me for coughing. Do you know what? That doesn't surprise me at all. I've seen people melt antennas and antenna wires and loading coils and things, but I've yet to see enough flames coming out of an antenna to actually burn ropes, etc. But you know, it doesn't surprise me. The hex beam is quite a popular antenna this side of the pond as well. I know a few people that are using them. I think it's because they're quite compact. They look like an upside down umbrella frame, don't they? I know the antenna you're talking about. You know, great fun. And I do a lot of QRP stuff as well, Dave. You know, I do like to run QRP. The fact that I'm coming into you at 9+ now is really quite you know, is really quite a testament to the way that the hex beam's working. But I'm just I was going to ask you another question then, but it was about Prince Edward Island. No, it's gone. Maybe I'll think of it in a second. The VY2FU M0JCF.
Oh, I do that all the time. I get something lined up, and then when it's ready to come out, it's like, oh, where did that go? Yeah, it's gone. But I burnt those ropes up on my hex beam so bad that I wish I was outside. There would have been flames, guaranteed. Over.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I'm the other hobby that I don't indulge in so much now, Dave, is I was a Tesla coil enthusiast, and you know, I built some very small and some very large Tesla coils, and I also built one Tesla magnifier, which was the triple coil system. And you know, sometimes you'd get some really faint sparks out of them, and other times you would get big flaming arcs, several several feet in length, maybe up to 4 feet in length. So you know, I'm well aware of high power RF and the high voltages and resonance systems that can really ramp up the power. But you know, it's all good fun, and we put smiles on people's faces, as I say, until you burn the house down. But you asked me about as well, was I in front of the computer? Unfortunately, I'm not at the moment. But talking of computers, I forgot to tell you right at the beginning, I started videoing me CQing 12 meters. As I do, I've got a YouTube channel where I store all my videos. It's almost like an audio visual a logbook, and really it started off just for my own pleasure. It was just, YouTube was just somewhere to store my videos, and so I've got this QSO. We're running 29 minutes at the moment, and I've got this QSO running. And what I'll do is I'll upload it to YouTube. So if you care to have a look and listen to yourself and see with your own eyes how good your signal has been on both the hex beam and the wire antenna, you'll be able to find it. If you just look for M0JCF ham radio, that will be the channel. As I say, it started off as just storage space for me, and I think I've got over 500 subscribers now, and I've never ever asked anyone to subscribe, like, or you know, ring that bell and all the rest of it. It was just a storage space. But the fact that people are interested in just watching and listening to me just talking to random strangers, I think it is really rather quite good, you know. I've got many hobbies, Dave. Oil painting. I used to be a motorcycle drag racer, not now, and so did my youngest daughter, you know. So there's the motorcycle engineering and all sorts, you know. So I've got lots of things to keep me occupied, and I'm just enjoying the ham radio at the moment. Now that the higher bands are opening up, now we're into cycle 25, you know, I think this is going to be a much more regular thing where I do more talking and operating than I do restoration or building. I've got so many unfinished projects around me, both, you know, in the radio game, the painting game, and the mechanical side of things down in the garage, you know. But I've got time now, so my daughters are both in their 20s now, so they're both grown women, and my wife is also, you know, I'm trying to convince her to retire as well, and then we'll have all of the time in the world to actually indulge in all of those pleasures. VY2FU M0JCF.
Okay, Mark, good stuff. And well, YouTube, that's cool. It's funny. One day there was a video up of, and I was in it. So then I just decided to search myself on YouTube. Found out there's all kinds of videos out there with me in it. Yeah. Oh, geez, there you go. I had something else, and I just did what you did. I just lost it. But I will have a look, so I wrote that down and put a big square around it, the YouTube, and I will go and check your channel out. But it's amazing there's so many people that just are interested as well. You know, if you're working on something on your desk, you put that on and play it along and listen along. So, yeah, pretty cool. Hey, anyways there, Mark, you're still nice and strong here, but I'm going to get out of here at this time. I think we've surpassed the half hour. Like I said, I have no problem from here talking to guys over there like you. I could spend hours, most days. It's just being on the coast. I know there's some strong stations that are inland. There's a strong station on Ontario, but he's strong over your way, but he's also strong here. So I think he bounces his signal off my deck to get to you guys. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's what I was going to say about hobbies and that. I got all kinds of hobbies. I have a whole pile of stunt kites, 2 and 4 line stunt kites that I'm into. Fly fishing I'm into, and fly tying, and I got a sea kayak to throw in the river across from me. But I got out of ham radio back in the early 90s, and I haven't been back until August this year. I bought this radio and built this station together on a budget. Everything's used, and yeah, I spend too much time on it now. But I sure am enjoying ham radio. I am retired. I've been for a while, and but yeah, this has definitely sparked up another. I already have envisions of it getting some better equipment, you know, in the future. So, but anyways, with that, Mark, 7-3s, nice chat with you. All the best, and anybody listening, your viewers there, all the best 7-3s from Prince Edward Island. Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. This is Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot United.
Yeah, no problem, Dave. And I remembered the Prince Edward Island, what I was going to ask, and it was a real long shot. My friend who lives in Montreal, her, my pen friend of 50 years, her dad, I think it's her dad, still lives on Prince Edward Island, and his surname was MacDonald. So her surname, her maiden name, it was MacDonald. So I was going to ask, did you know of any MacDonalds that live on Prince Edward Island? And really, it's a bit silly because it's like, you know, do I know anyone by the name of John Smith, you know, in the whole of southeast of England? You know, it was just one of those things, and that just popped into my head. But Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure. You'll find me CQing on 12 meters quite often, and you'll find me on 10 meters as well, and 15 meters, you know, DX wise. So, you know, if ever you hear me and you just want to drop in for a chat, I'll give you the time of day. That's no problem whatsoever. But yeah, we've run past 35 minutes now on this video, so it's going to be a long upload. I'll probably do it this evening, so you know, if you want to search for it, I would go for it tomorrow. I'll tag your call sign in the subject line as well, so you'll be able to find it instantly, just in case I've uploaded several. Dave, take care, have a fantastic time. I hope the clouds don't roll in and the temperature comes up, and I look forward to the next rag chew with you. And I tell you what, you say about that station, you know, you might sort of update it or whatever. I personally, I wouldn't bother. It's working absolutely fantastic. You've had lots of peaks around S9, so your station's working very well indeed. And new is for people with big checkbooks. Everything of mine, unless I've built it from scratch, has been used. You know, every purchase transceiver wise has been used. So yeah, stick with what you know works. Why replace it? Take care, old chap, and look forward to the next time. Bye bye for now. Victor Yankee 2, Foxtrot Uniform, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Fox. Cheers, old chap.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I just want to add, there's a lot of McDonald's on the island. The island is very Scottish. Mix and Max, I mean, I'm a McDougal. It's very Scottish here, so. And as for equipment, yeah, I've got an amplifier and I intended for you here that are both probably 60 years old. Still working good. John Green, Mark, all the best. We'll talk again sometime. Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Fox, Yankee 2, Fox United.
Yeah, cheers, Dave, and you take care. QRZ, Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, southeast of England, looking for DX. Okay, go again, please. You were very low to me, but I just heard somebody come in. M0 JCF listening.
Yeah, Mike 0, Japan Charlie Fox. This is Mike 0, Kilo Papa Delta Stroke Mobile. The name is Rob, Radio Oscar Bravo, on the Mike 25 Alpha 21 intersection, junction 5. Roger.
Yeah, M0 KPD Mobile, Rob, on the M25 A21 junction. I know that junction. I know it incredibly well. You're 5 and 3 to me, old chap. 5 and 3. Not bad for a mobile signal going either down or up that hill. I know it very well. Back to you.
Yeah, roger that. Thank you for 5 and 3. You're the same, actually. I was quite surprised when I looked down at the meter. You sound like a bit million with big audio, and I was really surprised it's a 5 and 3 for you as well. I guess we're too close, but whereabouts are you there, over?
Yeah, sorry, no, there was an assumption there that I shouldn't have made. I'm in Sidcup, so go to the top of the hill from that junction, go up the M25, and then you can take either the Orpington or the Swanley turn off on the M25, and then if you was to follow yourself down the A20 and follow your nose into Sidcup and then round a few corners, you'd find me. There you go, Rob. Name is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. Back to you.
Okay, very good, Mark. Well, thank you very much. I must say, this is a more difficult contact than the Western Sahara. It's just location. But I'm glad you can hear me, and about 10 minutes before, I probably would have been a bit stronger. But I'm now heading down the down part of the M25, and I'm heading off to Gatwick Airport. So, thank you very much. I'll let you carry on with the DX. Lovely to catch you for the first time, Mark. The name here is Rob, Radio Oscar Bravo. Have a good one, Fish 73, Mike 0, JCF, M0, KP Mobile. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. 5 and 2 still readable. I know exactly what part of the M25 you're on, and it's quite a good signal considering there's a big pile of hill in between us. Take care, drive safe. That's a horrible bit of M25 around there for traffic this time of day. You take care, and thanks a lot, Rob, and much appreciate the mobile contact. QRZ, Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot, looking for any DX on 12. Okay, M0 JCF is going QRT. This frequency is clear for use. This frequency is clear for use.